At 54, Lisa Marie Presley finally admitted what we all suspected, and the weight of her words sent a ripple through generations who had long watched her life unfold like a living echo of a legend. For years, the only daughter of Elvis Presley lived in a paradox, famous from birth yet striving for an identity of her own, fiercely private yet constantly pursued by public curiosity, revered as a symbol of American rock and roll heritage but often burdened by it. She was a child raised in Graceland's golden shadow, a woman who married some of the most famous men in the world, and a mother who fiercely protected her children while navigating one of the most public legacies in history. And through it all, there was always a question beneath the surface, something fans, biographers, and media figures often hinted at but could never confirm. What was it really like to grow up as Elvis Presley's daughter, and what emotional price did she pay? Now, after years of silence, deflections, and carefully measured interviews, Lisa Marie finally opened up, and what she revealed was not only heartfelt but haunting. In her own words, she admitted that much of her life was shaped by an overwhelming sense of grief and pressure, grief for a father she lost at just 9 years old, and pressure to live up to a name that defined a musical era. She admitted that, for decades, she felt like she was living someone else's life, constantly performing a role scripted by the expectations of others. While she had moments of genuine joy and success, her own music career, motherhood, and deep spiritual searching, there was always the shadow of Elvis, the unanswered questions, the unresolved pain. And though she never blamed her father, she confessed that being his daughter came with a cost most people could never understand. Perhaps most striking was her admission that her public image, the tough, no-nonsense woman who stood by Michael Jackson during his most turbulent years, who clashed with record labels, who seemed to brush off gossip with a glare, was often just armor. Inside, she said, was a woman who often felt like she was drowning in expectations, who struggled with identity, and who longed to be seen not as an icon's daughter, but as a person in her own right. She admitted to years of therapy, emotional breakdowns, and a long battle with the weight of fame that often left her isolated. And yes, she confirmed what many suspected but few dared to ask, that she sometimes questioned whether the Presley name was a blessing or a lifelong burden, but her words were not just confessions, they were also reflections. She spoke of healing, of learning to embrace her story rather than run from it, of finally accepting that her path, no matter how turbulent, was uniquely hers. In doing so, she offered something that few celebrity confessions ever managed to achieve: clarity. It wasn't about drama or blame, it was about truth. And that truth resonated deeply with fans who had grown up with her, watched her highs and lows, and always wondered what it felt like to carry the crown of rock royalty. Lisa Marie Presley's admission wasn't just an emotional moment. It was a profound act of reclaiming her voice. After years of being spoken for, misunderstood, or reduced to tabloid headlines, she finally stepped forward with honesty, courage, and grace. And in doing so, she reminded the world that beneath the legend, the fame, and the myth, there was always a woman who simply wanted to be heard, to be understood, and to be free.